What up, what it do, guys? Welcome back to Spaz to Riches. I am your boy Spaz, and today we're going to be watching the crashes that changed NASCAR. Smash that like button, and we're going to jump right on into the video. Let's go!
Starting in 1960, NASCAR had its biggest crash in history that involved 37 of the 68 cars on the track.
37 of the 68 cars? Yo, that's crazy. And one of those cars looked like a Doom buggy, by the way. It looked like one of them punch buggies. Actually, it's right there. Might have been. Would you look at that?
One year later, in 1961, Johnny Beauchamp and Lee Petty both launched their cars over the retaining wall at Daytona. Both men survived with severe injuries, but their careers ended as a result of that wreck. During the
Of course, their careers ended after that. Bro, what? Look at that. They went flying off of the side of a freaking hill. That's crazy. Yo, see, retaining walls is important, but that wasn't no retaining wall. That was one of them little guardrail things that they be having on the highway. And they don't even stop the cars on the highway from going over whenever they crash. So what? Wow. That shows how much they care about us.
early days of NASCAR, Edward Glenn Roberts Jr., better known as Fireball Roberts, was one of the best-known NASCAR drivers at the time. However, his career ended at Charlotte Motor Speedway in 1964 when Junior Johnson and Ned Jarrett crashed and Roberts spun out trying to avoid the accident. Roberts' car hit the inside wall and burst into flames. Roberts had second and third degree burns on 80% of his body and got pneumonia, which ended up being the cause of his death 6 weeks later. Because of this accident, NASCAR made fire retardant safety gear essential while improving fire extinguishing systems and replacing the steel fuel tanks in favor of rubber fuel cells. One thing that is commonly seen in stock cars today are the window nets. Originally, NASCAR didn't have window nets, but that changed in 1970 when Richard Petty lost control of his car and slammed the inside wall and started flipping wildly at Darlington Motor Speedway. People who witnessed this wreck thought Petty received fatal injuries resulting from the crash, especially when they saw his arms hanging out the window. However, Petty had only injured his shoulder, but his head did hit the track pavement several times, which led NASCAR to install the safety net on the driver's window. To this day, drivers are told to lower their window nets after a wreck to let safety personnel know that they are okay. NASCAR started to broadcast a race from beginning to end live for the first time for the 1979 Daytona 500. Boy, that was worth watching.
The last lap, trying to take it home. It's all come down to this. Out of turn two, Donnie Allison in first. Where will Cale make his move? He comes to the inside. Donnie Allison throws the block. Cale hits him. He slides. Donnie Allison slides. They hit again. They drive into the turn. They're hitting the wall. They're head on the wall. They slide down to the inside. Let's watch those third place cars. They're out of it.
On the final lap of the 500, Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough were battling for the lead when they wrecked each other and drifted down the infield. Richard Petty went on to take the lead and win the race, but while he crossed the finish line, Allison and Yarborough started a fist fight. Everyone watching that race on television were shocked at the scene of both racers beating each other on live television. As of 2020, NASCAR is broadcasted to 150 countries, and fights continue to be fan favorites ever since. During the
Of course, because who don't like seeing a good fight? But they don't even like show the fights like that on NASCAR. Like they try to stop, like from what I've seen, they stop that jump before it even really escalates into something big. It's so many people that I be seeing. Sometimes they're able to. Sometimes other people just get involved into the fight, and then it just be a brawl. Not even a fight no more. It's a brawl.
1980s, the cars were capable of going well over 200 miles per hour in tracks like Daytona and Talladega. That was accepted until 1987 when Bobby Allison blew a tire and crashed into the catch fence at Talladega.
Oh, we have a problem.
Bobby Allison with a horrible crash here on the front stretch. It has torn out a complete section.
Starting in 1988, NASCAR introduced the restrictor plate to reduce the speed and horsepower specifically at those two tracks. Fast forward to 2019, NASCAR did remove the use of the restrictor plate in favor of the combined use of smaller spacers, larger spoilers, splitters, and aero ducts to reduce horsepower. Also, NASCAR had no speed limits on the cars in pit road, which allowed the drivers to drive at max speed to get the fastest pit time. That was allowed until 1990 when Ricky Rudd lost control of his car and crashed into Bill Elliott's pit box, crushing pit crew member Mike Rich, killing him almost instantly. The next year, NASCAR introduced...
Oh, see, this is what I be talking about. This is why I said I could not be a pit member. I mean, I know now they say they got this little speed limit and all this other stuff. I personally, I knew there was a speed limit on pit road, but I didn't know that NASCAR did. I thought like they just let you go as fast as you want to on the track, and you know whoever win. So the spacer and everything is meant to slow them down. How do they know if, like, what if you slow your car down, and it gets slower than the car that won? And it's because of that, though. And it means, like, you didn't let your car reach its full potential. We're going to carry on.
Introduce new speed limits on pit road to reduce crashes there. Seen on the hood and roof of the cars are the hood and roof flaps, and people wonder what they're used for. I think the answer might be illustrated by Rusty Wallace's wild flips at Daytona and Talladega.
Jarrett and Earnhardt were capable of pull away a little bit. They're trouble behind Rusty Wallace is turning over.
Rusty Wallace, 20 feet in the air, spinning, crashing.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Checkered is waving. Ernie Irvan wins, and Rusty spins and gets airborne and flips wildly right at the start-finish line. Very reminiscent of his accident at Daytona.
NASCAR introduced the roof flaps in 1994 to reduce airborne crashes. Even though we still see airborne crashes today, these sorts of crashes are far less frequent than if they weren't there. In February 2001, the NASCAR world would come to a complete shock when legendary NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt died from what looked like a minor wreck on the final lap of the Daytona 500. Because of this, NASCAR made the head and neck support strictly necessary to all drivers. NASCAR also replaced the old concrete walls around every track with the steel and foam energy reduction, or simply called safer barriers. Fast forwarding to 2007, NASCAR introduced the Car of Tomorrow, claiming that it is the safest car than any other car in years past. This was obviously met with plenty of skepticism, with people thinking that it is not as safe as claimed to be. However, Michael McDowell changed all those opinions during the 2008 qualifying at Texas Motor Speedway.
Oh, guys, whoa, oh, no, oh, my gosh. I have never seen anything like that in my life. He hit that wall a ton. Oh, my gosh.
When Michael McDowell lost control of his car, crashed into the wall, and flipped wildly, people were thinking of what would be his injuries. But everyone was stunned when he simply got out of the car and walked away unscathed. Until 2013, that was the deciding factor about how safe the Car of Tomorrow was. In 2013, NASCAR introduced the Generation 6 car, which not only made these cars look like everyday street cars, but had many different aerodynamic and downforce packages on most racetracks. This car also featured forward roof and center roof support bars.
That car features Scooby-Doo and Shaggy
To the roll cage, with the purpose of reinforcing the integrity and increase the crush structure of the roof. They increased the size of the roof flaps to help keep the cars on the ground to prevent it from flipping while going backwards at high speeds, like I mentioned earlier. Nonetheless, there have been a few instances where the Gen 6 car has gone airborne and flipped during high-speed crashes. In 2015, Austin Dillon, who was driving the number 3 car, was caught in a multi-car wreck and crashed into the catch fence on the final lap at Daytona.
Bro, that fence be so brutal. And I was just about to say, does he not have a clip for this? I mean, he was showing the Scooby-Doo car for so long. I know he said it's Gen 6 or something, but I'm gonna always remember that car as the Scooby-Doo car now. But it was just like he was showing it for so long. I'm just like, dang, bro, when we gonna... Let's start.
Everyone was stunned to see that Austin Dillon got out of the car on his own power and walked away with only a bruise on his tailbone and forearm. Most recently, in 2020, Ryan Newman was trying to block Ryan Blaney to win the Daytona 500, but ended up getting spun out, sent into the outside wall, and going airborne until Corey LaJoie unintentionally broadsided him on the driver's side on its way down. Ryan Newman was unconscious but survived with only a bruised brain. In a recent interview on the Today Show, Ryan Newman did say that the roll cage was compromised. With the Generation 7 car set to debut at the 2021 Daytona 500, NASCAR will be looking into more ways to keep improving the safety of the cars on the track. To conclude, in the 72 years that this sport has been around, NASCAR has significantly changed with the advancements of the rules, the cars, the technology, the racetracks, and more. It was amazing to do all this research and see how much NASCAR has changed from what it originally was. Everything from big crashes...
like a toy car. It doesn't look real.
3,400 pounds. Remember that. These things are almost 2 tons.
to last lap passes.
The 2017 champion, will he get the bumper? Yes, he does. Here comes Legato. Legato on the inside. A drag race. They're sideways.
NASCAR will forever be one of America's favorite motorsports.
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500.
Well, there you have it, guys. That'll be it for today's video. Hope you smash that like button. Hope you enjoy this video. And until next time, my friends, deuces.
You like how I talk, You like how I walk, You like a soldier, nigga, a boss. You know what I'm on, How you cap, bitch, you weak. Bitch, you lame on that lame hoe shit. For yourself, get killed. I'll take the gun off your hip. Dish you that shit like a feel. Don't do young hoes.